much in savings do you have? If the number is shockingly low or even at $0, then you're watching the perfect video. I'll be going through what Warren Buffett does to save money and what you can do too so that you can get out of your rut and start building up your savings and wealth. So let's get into it. 1. Warren Buffett pays cash 98% of the time, and there's a key lesson to be taken from this. So lots of people tend to use their credit cards to purchase things, especially when times are tough. But this is a very negative money habit to practice for several reasons. First, if you don't know how to use credit cards correctly, then it can actually harm your credit score. Relying on your credit card to make purchases can very easily lead to you maxing out on your credit cards, which can be harmful. And if your credit score is bad, then you can't do things like take out loans, buy a home, and so much more that you might want to do in the future. Second, knowing in the back of your mind that you can just make a purchase on your credit card leads to a lot of people overspending and then having no idea what to do with themselves when it comes to paying things off, budgeting, and generally handling money. The temptation is simply too strong. Third, not only will you have to pay off your credit cards, you'll also have to pay expensive interest. So you're basically paying more money to spend money. It's cash loss left, right, and center. On the other hand, paying in cash means that you are far more conscious about how you spend your money, and that benefits you in several ways. You'll be more incentivized to actually make more income, and most importantly, you're in control of your situation. Really and truly, you should only use credit cards and take out loans when it's absolutely necessary or an emergency. Not to mention, with inflation, having cold hard cash is one of the most stable and secure assets for you to have. 2. Buffett eats McDonald's for breakfast. Now look, I'm definitely not trying to encourage you to eat junk first thing in the morning. But the point here is that even though Buffett could afford fancy schmancy breakfast cooked for him by a private chef, he chooses to go for the more affordable option. And that's the lesson that you need to take away, especially if you have $0 in your savings account. There's no way around the fact that you have to live frugally at least for a short period of time. Skip the takeaways, skip going out to restaurants, skip the nights out. Instead, plan your grocery shopping and set aside money for this. Find cheaper forms of entertainment like watching Netflix instead of going to the movies, and learn how to cook. This isn't me telling you to be a cheapskate. This is what you have to do at the beginning of what will turn out to be the most worthwhile money move that you make. Living frugally, more importantly, will teach you discipline, and if you can't build this discipline, you may as well just stay comfortable with that number you see in your savings account right now. 3. Buffett says save before you spend, don't spend before you save. This is something that a lot of people are guilty of doing, and I won't lie to you, I was one of them. When you get your paycheck, it's so easy to just buy the things that you've been waiting to buy all month, spend money on going out and having a good time, and then save the little that you might have left over. But this is so backward. You can never build up your savings or your wealth if you're basically living literally from paycheck to paycheck. So here's my advice to you on what to do as soon as you get your paycheck. I personally use Monzo, which is great for tracking exactly what I'm spending and helps me budget without putting much thought into it at all. If you have Monzo, great, but if you don't, then I recommend getting a Monzo account, which is an awesome online-only bank that can really help you get out of your financial rut. Whatever bank account you go with, as soon as you get your paycheck, make sure that you set aside the amount that you want to save. Don't even think about it, just set it aside. I personally use the Monzo Pots feature that lets you place money into a pot designated to whatever you want. So I have a savings pot that I put my money from my earnings into as soon as I get paid. And the cool thing is that I can lock the pot so that I don't have access to it after putting my money in there. Maybe this sounds extreme to some of you, but you and I both know that you need to do this, especially if your money management isn't great right now and you're lacking in financial discipline. And bear in mind that you don't have to put a crazy amount of money into your savings. Just take away essential expenses like bills, rent, and living costs, then start by locking away 30% of what's remaining, then try 40%, then 50%, then 60%. It's not easy building up financial discipline, but if you take it one step at a time, you'll end up in a far better place down the line. 4. Buffett really emphasizes always being prepared for the worst. I'm talking about having an emergency fund. You never know when you might have a medical emergency or when your car might break down, and so on. That's why it's always important to have an emergency fund so that if something ever does happen, you won't have to stress about not being able to make rent because you have to deal with your emergency. To build up your emergency fund, I would recommend setting aside either a portion of your paycheck as a whole or a portion of your savings specifically for emergencies. Aim to build up a $1,000 emergency fund. 5. Buffett believes in diversification. Boost your income. There's only so much scrimping and saving you can do to grow your bank balance. You need to find ways to boost your income in the first place. And there are several ways you could do this. You could consider finding a higher paid job if you don't mind leaving your current role. You could apply for higher paid positions in the company you currently work at or negotiate a higher salary. But the best thing to do is to have multiple sources of income. Taking on an extra part-time job can also really help, such as by working as an Uber driver or delivery person. But honestly, the best way to earn a little extra income while you're juggling 101 things in life is to do something online. You could teach English online, you could write for people, you could do video editing or design. Honestly, the opportunities are endless. And the best part is that an online income will help you out without you having to leave your home, without having to spend money on traveling and work clothes, and without wasting time that you probably don't have, especially if you already have a full-time job. I'll be going into different ways that you can diversify your income sources in future videos, so be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on so you don't miss out on incredibly helpful personal finance tips. See you next time.